The station drifted at the edge of a pale blue nebula, its hull threaded with glowing veins of alien alloy that pulsed like a sleeping creature's breath. Inside, gravity hummed a little too confidently, as if it enjoyed reminding everyone that it could be turned off at a moment's notice. Cole noticed these things because he fixed them, or at least he fixed the parts that complained the loudest. He was tightening a panel that absolutely did not need tightening when the door slid open and the temperature dropped half a degree, just enough to be annoying. Asha walked in as if the room had been expecting her. She looked human at first glance, almost disappointingly so, but the illusion cracked the moment she turned her head and her long ears caught the light, tapering back in a way no human evolution had ever justified. Her armor was matte and scarred, older than most civilizations Cole had read about, and worn with the casual comfort of something that had saved her life more times than she could count. She surveyed the training chamber with the faint boredom of someone who had survived worse rooms. "You are Cole," she said, not bothering to ask. Cole wiped grease on his sleeve and glanced around, just to make sure there wasn't another Cole hiding behind a console. "Statistically, yes," he said, "unless you're looking for the other one. He owes people money." Her mouth twitched, possibly a smile, possibly a warning. "You have been recommended to me." "That's unfortunate for both of us," Cole replied. "I specialize in loose wires and stubborn doors. Violence is more of a hobby I quit." Asha stepped closer, close enough that he could see faint luminescent markings along her skin, shifting subtly like data running beneath flesh. "You fought during the Kipri breach," she said. "Untrained, outnumbered. You survived." "I hid," Cole said. "Very professionally." "You disarmed 3 attackers." "They tripped," he said, repeatedly, "on my face." She studied him in silence, and the silence had weight, the kind that usually preceded screaming alarms or structural failure. "I will defeat you," Asha said calmly. "It will not take me a minute." Cole blinked. "Do I get a warm-up minute, or is this more of a cold, traumatic experience?" She ignored that, already turning toward the center of the chamber. The floor reconfigured itself, panels sliding and locking with a satisfying mechanical confidence. Training drones lifted from their alcoves, lenses focusing with mild interest. Somewhere a betting pool probably opened. Cole sighed and stepped onto the platform. "Just so we're clear," he said, "if I die, I'm haunting the maintenance level." Loudly. Asha faced him, posture perfect, balance effortless. "Begin when you are ready." He glanced at the ceiling. "Is there a clock?" "I feel like this is very time-specific trash talk." A tone chimed, sharp and final. The match began. Asha moved first, of course, she always did. Her strike was fast, precise, and absolutely lethal in at least 12 known species. Cole was not one of them, mostly because he wasn't where the strike landed. He stumbled backward, not gracefully, arms flailing just enough to sell panic, while his feet found a rhythm that wasn't obvious unless you were watching too closely. She pressed forward, a controlled storm, each motion flowing into the next. Cole kept retreating, muttering under his breath. Okay, this is fine. This is a perfectly normal way to spend a morning." Her confidence was tangible, filling the space between them. She cut angles, anticipated responses that never came, adjusted with irritation so slight it was almost respectful. Cole ducked, rolled, clipped a drone by accident. The drone exploded, offended. "Apologies," he said to no one. 30 seconds passed, then 40. Asha struck again, harder this time, testing. Cole absorbed the momentum, redirected it with a shove that surprised them both. He grinned despite himself. "Huh," he said. "That worked." Her eyes narrowed, ears angling back a fraction. The minute mark approached, invisible but heavy. Cole felt it like a countdown to a bad joke. When the tone failed to sound, when nothing ended, the air shifted. Interesting, Asha thought. And for the first time in centuries, the thought was not followed by certainty. The silence after the missed minute lingered like a system error no one wanted to acknowledge. The drones adjusted their hover patterns, recalculating probabilities that no longer made sense. Cole noticed this because he noticed everything that behaved like a confused machine. Asha noticed it because nothing ever confused machines around her. She stepped back half a pace, not retreating, just recalibrating, and that alone felt strange enough to itch beneath her armor. You're late, Cole said, glancing at his wrist as if a watch might magically appear. I was promised a very efficient defeat. I scheduled my embarrassment accordingly. Asha did not answer. She circled him, boots silent against the adaptive floor. The chamber responded to her movement, panels subtly shifting to optimize combat flow. It had been designed for her kind, or at least for warriors who fought like her. Cole shuffled sideways and the floor obligingly tried to help him trip. He scowled at it. Wow, rude. She came in again, faster now, irritation sharpening her precision. Cole barely avoided the first strike, felt the wind of it tug at his shirt. The second would have ended him if he hadn't ducked at the exact wrong moment for all the right reasons. His foot catching a raised seam. He fell forward, slapped the floor, and rolled as Asha's follow-up carved empty air above him. That was intentional, he said from the ground. Advanced technique. Gravity negotiation. Asha's mouth twitched again, this time unmistakably. She adjusted her stance, shifting to a pattern she had learned during a siege fought inside a collapsing starship, one where space bent unpredictably, and timing mattered more than force. Cole responded by doing nothing for half a second too long. Her strike met his forearm instead of his spine. Pain flared bright and loud. He hissed, retreated, shook out his hand. Okay, he muttered. Note to self. Alien bones are not decorative. She pressed the advantage, and for a moment the old rhythm returned. Cole was on the defensive, reacting, surviving. But he wasn't panicking. He was watching. He always watched machines before fixing them, letting them fail a little longer so they would reveal their habits. Asha's movements were beautiful, but beauty repeated itself. Patterns emerged. Not flaws, exactly. Assumptions. She expected him to overcommit. He didn't. She expected him to counter when threatened. He waited. The training chamber responded to rising intensity by subtly increasing gravity, a slow, creeping weight meant to exhaust combatants. Asha barely noticed. Cole did. He adjusted his breathing, shortened his steps, joked because it helped him think. Is it just me? He said between dodges. Or did the floor get heavier? Because I did not emotionally consent to this. You talk too much, Asha said, and struck low. He jumped. The gravity punished him immediately, dragging him down faster than expected. He hit hard, rolled, came up laughing breathlessly. Yep, definitely heavier. She paused again. Just a fraction. He saw it this time. A micro-hesitation, a recalculation that assumed he would be slower, weaker, less adaptive. He wasn't stronger or faster. He was just willing to look foolish long enough to learn something useful. The drones chimed softly. 5 minutes elapsed. Asha exhaled, slow and controlled. This was no longer a demonstration. It was a problem. Problems were solved, but usually alone, usually with time. Cole grinned at her, sweat soaked and bruised. So, he said, do I get a certificate for surviving this long? Or is there a gift shop? She came at him again, not angry now, but focused in a different way. She varied her timing, altered angles, introduced feints designed to overwhelm perception. Cole failed to track 2 of them and took hits that rattled his teeth. He staggered, vision blurring, then laughed weakly. Ow, okay, that one counts. He backed toward the edge of the platform, gravity tugging harder now, the station clearly invested in the outcome. Asha followed, confident once more. She stepped where she always stepped in this sequence, and Cole was already moving. He didn't strike her. He nudged her balance, redirected her momentum just enough that she had to correct. It wasn't much. It was enough. She landed, recovered instantly, but the realization landed slower. He wasn't fighting her. He was fighting her expectations. The tone sounded again. 10 minutes. The match did not end because neither of them stopped. Only when a senior instructor's voice crackled over the chamber speakers, sounding equal parts confused and annoyed, did the platform disengage. Gravity normalized. The drones powered down. Asha stood very still. Cole leaned over, hands on knees, breathing hard. So, he said after a moment, I assume this is the part where you tell me I was mildly interesting before destroying me later. She looked at him, truly looked, and something old shifted behind her eyes. This was not supposed to happen, she said. Story of my life, Cole replied. The instructors cleared the chamber with the efficiency of people who didn't want to be blamed later. The drones retreated into the ceiling like embarrassed thoughts. Cole remained where he was, still bent forward, hands on his knees, waiting for his lungs to stop filing formal complaints. Asha did not leave. She stood near the center of the platform, armor humming softly as it powered down from combat mode, her long ears angled backward in a way that suggested deep offense taken by reality itself. "You misrepresented yourself," she said at last. Cole straightened with a wince. "I absolutely did not. I said I didn't like fighting. That was entirely accurate. You allowed me to assume you were incompetent. That sounds like a personal choice," he said. "I just exist." She turned toward him slowly, studying him as if he were a relic that had been misfiled for several centuries. Her people had cataloged stars that no longer existed. They had recorded wars down to the millisecond. Cole, sweaty and bruised, did not fit into any of her mental archives. "You fight without structure," she said. "Thank you," Cole replied. "I was raised that way." She ignored the comment. "You wait when others rush. You retreat when they advance. You treat battle as if it were a puzzle." He shrugged. "Everything is a puzzle if you're bad at it long enough." Asha's ears flicked forward. "This was not a victory." "I noticed," Cole said. "I'm still alive." She stepped closer, and this time he didn't back away. Up close, the faint glow beneath her skin resolved into complex biocircuitry, alien technology grown rather than built. She smelled faintly metallic, like ionized air after a jump. "I do not accept draws," she said. "Good," Cole replied. "Neither do I. They're emotionally unsatisfying." The station lights dimmed, shifting into a simulated dusk cycle. Somewhere beyond the hull, the nebula flared brighter, radiation dancing against the shields. Asha watched it without really seeing it. "You disrupted my timing," she said. "You delayed reactions that should have been immediate." "I panic on a schedule," Cole said. "It confuses people." She did not smile this time, but the tension eased, stretching thin enough to let something else through. Curiosity, sharp and dangerous. "You will fight me again." "That seems likely," Cole said. "I work here." "Tomorrow," she added. He grimaced. "I was hoping for something less tomorrow-shaped." She turned away, already convinced of his compliance. "Rest," she said. "You will need it." Cole watched her leave, long ears disappearing through the sliding doors, then looked around the empty chamber. "Rude," he muttered. "Didn't even ask my name again." The next day the chamber was different. The floor rippled with low-level gravitic interference, designed to mimic uneven planetary pull. Cole stepped in and immediately felt like one leg weighed more than the other. "Fantastic," he said. "I always wanted scoliosis." Asha waited for him, armor lighter this time, configuration altered. She had changed her stance, her opening posture, even the way she breathed. He noticed because she wanted him to. This time she was watching him watch her. They began without ceremony, no countdown, no tone. Asha moved slower, deliberately so, forcing him to act first. Cole hesitated, then advanced awkwardly, feinting a strike he had no intention of landing. She countered smoothly. He slipped past, clipped her shoulder by accident. They both froze. "Did you mean to do that?" she asked. "No," Cole said honestly, "but I liked it." She adjusted instantly, aggression returning in controlled bursts. Cole retreated, adapted, complained loudly about the floor. Gravity shifted again, heavier on one side of the platform. Asha compensated instinctively. Cole stumbled, then laughed as he caught himself using a support strut that shouldn't have been there. The chamber, annoyed, retracted it. "You rely on the environment," Asha observed. "I trust it more than myself," Cole replied. "It's usually consistent." She attacked with a combination he hadn't seen before. Movements unfamiliar, alien in a way that reminded him she was not human at all. He took 2 hits, hard, and felt something crack. He went down, rolled, came up slower. "Still want to continue?" she asked, not unkindly. Cole spat blood and grinned. "Absolutely not, but I'm going to anyway." Something shifted then. Asha slowed, just a fraction, matching his pace. She corrected his posture mid-exchange, redirected his elbow without striking him, teaching, even as she fought. Cole noticed and adjusted in turn, breaking a pattern she had just introduced. They fought until the chamber dimmed into artificial night, until both were exhausted, until victory stopped mattering. When they finally stepped apart, neither felt satisfied, but neither felt defeated. Asha inclined her head, the gesture formal, ancient. "Tomorrow," she said again. Cole nodded, swaying slightly. "Yeah," he said. "Tomorrow sounds survivable." By the fourth day, the station had begun to anticipate them. Cole noticed because the corridor lights brightened half a second earlier when he approached the training chamber, as if the system had learned his limp. Asha noticed because the chamber loaded her preferred gravity profile without being asked, then hesitated, corrected itself, and loaded something slightly different. They both paused at the threshold. "Did it just flinch?" Cole asked. "The station adapts," Asha said. "It learns from repeated behavior." "Great," Cole replied. "Now even the walls are judging me." Inside, the chamber had changed again. The floor no longer pretended to be flat. It sloped in subtle, shifting angles. Never enough to be obvious. Always enough to be annoying. Above them, holographic projections of distant stars rotated slowly, not for aesthetics, but to interfere with spatial orientation. Cole squinted upward. "That's cheating." "This entire place is cheating," Asha said, already stepping forward. They had stopped announcing the beginning of their matches. It happened when it happened, usually when one of them moved first or when the chamber decided patience was inefficient. Today, it was the chamber. Gravity tilted without warning, not heavier, just sideways, a gentle insistence that balance was a suggestion. Cole slid 3 steps to the left. "I hate this floor," he said conversationally. "You said that yesterday," Asha replied, striking. He ducked, rolled, popped up on the wrong side of the slope, which turned out to be the right side entirely. Asha adjusted, faster than before, her movements no longer purely aggressive, but exploratory. She tested him with incomplete sequences, aborted strikes, pauses that would have been traps for anyone else. Cole didn't take the bait. He waited. He always waited. He watched the way her weight shifted just before a strike, the way her ears angled when she committed fully. He filed it away alongside everything else that might one day save his life. She caught him anyway. The blow wasn't brutal, just precise, a sharp correction to the ribs that knocked the breath out of him. He staggered, laughed weakly. "Okay, that one definitely counts." "Focus," Asha said. "I am focused," Cole wheezed. "On not dying." She circled him, slower now, mirroring his pace. The chamber responded by lowering ambient light, forcing them to rely on motion rather than sight. Cole squinted, then shrugged. "I should warn you," he said. "I'm much worse in the dark." "You rely too much on hesitation," Asha said and stepped in. He stepped back at the exact wrong moment. The slope shifted, gravity flickered. Cole fell, slid, and collided with her shin hard enough to surprise them both. She stumbled, recovered instantly, then froze as she realized what had happened. "Did you plan that?" she asked. "No," Cole said from the floor. "But I'm sensing a theme." She stared down at him, something dangerously close to amusement in her eyes. "Get up." He did, slower this time, bruises blooming in colors he hadn't earned yet. They resumed, the rhythm changing again. Asha began to talk as they fought, something she had never done before. "You were not trained," she said, blocking a clumsy strike, "yet you observe like a tactician." "I fix things," Cole replied, ducking under her arm. "Things break in patterns." "Warriors are not machines." "Neither are doors," he said, "but they still squeak the same way every time." She struck again, faster, sharper, frustration threading through her precision. Cole took the hit, rolled with it, then surprised her by stopping entirely. He stood there, hands lowered, breathing hard. She halted mid-motion. "Why did you stop?" "Because you're about to do the thing where you feint left and commit right," he said, "and I'm too tired to pretend I won't see it." She stared at him. Slowly, deliberately, she changed direction. He laughed. "Oh, come on, that was my favorite part." The chamber chimed softly, marking elapsed time. Neither of them looked at the clock anymore. Time had stopped being the enemy and started being a shared inconvenience. They fought until the station's artificial night cycle deepened, stars dimming above them. When they finally separated, both were exhausted, sweat cooling rapidly in the chamber's controlled atmosphere. Asha leaned against a support column, armor humming quietly. My experience should have ended this, she said, not angrily, but thoughtfully. Cole sank to the floor, back against the wall. Experience is great, he said, but it does tend to repeat itself. She considered that, ears angling slightly outward. You forced me to question habits I have not examined in centuries. Yeah, Cole said. That happens when you don't read the manual. She looked at him sharply. Manual? Metaphor, he said quickly. Mostly. Silence settled between them, not uncomfortable, just full. The chamber light softened as if giving them privacy. Asha straightened at last, posture formal once more, but something had changed beneath it. This is not dominance, she said. This is friction. Cole smiled tiredly. Friction makes things interesting. She inclined her head, a smaller gesture than before, less ceremonial, more genuine. Tomorrow, she said. Cole groaned. You say that like it's a threat. She paused at the door, glanced back at him. It is, she said, and for the first time she smiled openly. By the fifth session, the word rematch had quietly stopped meaning what it once did. Cole realized this when he caught himself stretching before entering the chamber, the way people did before things they expected to survive. Asha realized it when she altered her armor configuration, not for dominance, but for flexibility. The station noticed it too. The chamber no longer chose extremes. No crushing gravity spikes, no disorienting light storms. Instead, it created variables that shifted slowly, patiently, as if it wanted to watch. Cole stepped inside and froze. The floor wasn't metal. It looked like liquid glass, translucent and softly luminous, revealing slow-moving energy currents beneath. Each step caused ripples that lagged half a second behind motion. Cole crouched and poked it. The surface resisted, then flexed. Oh good, Harawara, he said. The floor is nervous. Asha entered behind him, ears lifting slightly in interest. Adaptive kinetic substrate, she said. It reacts to intent as much as movement. Cole straightened. So if I intend to not fall on my face? The floor shifted and his foot slid sideways. He windmilled, recovered, glared downward. It ignores me. Great. They took their places without ceremony, no signals, no countdowns. The chamber dimmed to a steady twilight, the false stars overhead replaced by slow-moving geometric projections that warped perspective just enough to be irritating. Asha moved first, but not fast. That alone unsettled him. She advanced cautiously, reading him as carefully as he read her. Cole waited, rocking slightly as the floor adjusted to his balance. When he moved, it was sideways, deliberately awkward, testing how the surface responded. It resisted when he tried to sprint, assisted when he leaned into a turn. Oh, he said, it likes confidence. Asha struck. The exchange was brief, sharp, exploratory. Cole redirected, slipped, nearly fell, recovered by accident, then laughed. Asha followed, her movements altered, less linear, more adaptive. She abandoned familiar sequences halfway through, forcing herself into uncertainty. It showed. Cole felt it the way you felt a machine hesitate when a routine failed. He pressed gently, never committing fully, just nudging her into decisions she hadn't planned to make. She countered, adjusted, learned faster than before. You are changing your timing, he said mid-dodge. She answered by sweeping his legs. He hit the floor hard, bounced once, groaned. Okay, he said from the ground. Still counts. She offered a hand without thinking. They both froze. Slowly she withdrew it, expression unreadable. Cole pushed himself up, pretending not to notice the moment at all. The chamber, deeply invested in awkwardness, shifted gravity a fraction too late and sent him sliding into her shoulder. Sorry, he said immediately. She steadied him by reflex, fingers tightening just long enough to register. Her grip was firm, controlled, warmer than he expected. She released him just as quickly. They separated. The fight resumed, but something had shifted. Not softened, focused. Asha began to explain things as they fought. Short corrections, precise observations. Your left side opens when you anticipate instead of react. Yeah, Cole replied, ducking. That's because I'm bad at patience. She altered her stance to demonstrate. He mirrored it imperfectly. She corrected him again, tapping his elbow into alignment instead of striking it. Hey, he said, that's new. Learning is inefficient without feedback, she said. Violence is excellent feedback, he replied. This feels like a tutorial. The floor responded by buckling under him. They fought longer this time, not because either refused to stop, but because stopping felt unnecessary. The chamber adjusted temperature, air density, even ambient sound, introducing low-frequency vibrations designed to disrupt balance. Cole complained loudly about it. Asha ignored the complaints and adapted. At some point, Cole stopped joking. Not entirely, but enough that Asha noticed. You are tired, she said. I am everything, Cole replied, panting. Mostly tired. She slowed, matching his pace even though she didn't need to. That, more than any strike, unsettled him. They circled, movements smaller now, more deliberate. When he made a mistake, she exploited it, but without cruelty. When she repeated a pattern, he broke it, grinning apologetically. Sorry, he said. You do that thing with your shoulder. Her ears flicked. You notice too much. You do it too well, he said. Hard not to. The chamber chimed softly, marking time neither of them tracked anymore. Cole checked the edge of the platform, misjudged the substrate's resistance, and slipped. Asha caught him this time without hesitation, stabilizing both of them as gravity briefly spiked. They stood too close. For a moment, neither moved. Then the chamber, which had absolutely no sense of boundaries, dimmed the lights further. Cole cleared his throat. So, he said, rematch? Asha released him, stepped back, posture settling into something less rigid than before. This was not a rematch, she said. This was calibration. Great, Cole replied. I love being calibrated. Makes me feel important. She studied him for a long moment, eyes bright with something that wasn't frustration anymore. Tomorrow, she said, but this time it sounded less like a threat and more like an invitation. Cole smiled, tired and genuine. Yeah, he said, tomorrow. The sixth session did not begin in the training chamber. Cole realized something was wrong when the corridor floor didn't light up beneath his feet at all. No guidance strips, no subtle directional cues, just dull metal and silence. He slowed, then stopped entirely. Okay, he said to the empty hallway. Either the station is mad at me, or this is a test. It is both, Asha's voice said behind him. He jumped, nearly colliding with a maintenance drone that immediately fled in panic. You know, he said, turning, for someone with 1,000 years of combat experience, you still sneak like a haunted appliance. She was not wearing armor. That was the second wrong thing. Instead, she wore a lighter combat weave, flexible and unadorned, the kind meant for learning rather than survival. Her long ears were uncovered, catching the corridor light, and her posture, while still precise, lacked the rigid certainty he had grown used to. We will not use the chamber today, she said. Cole squinted. Did we break it? No. Did I break it? Yes, she said without hesitation. Conceptually. He nodded. Fair. They moved deeper into the station, past sealed bulkheads and observation windows that looked out into the nebula's slow, luminous churn. Gravity fluctuated faintly here, the result of older systems running on legacy algorithms that hadn't been updated in centuries. Cole adjusted instinctively, leaning when the floor leaned back. You're smiling, he said after a moment. Asha glanced at him. I am not. You are, he insisted. That's a smile for someone who once threatened to end me in 60 seconds. That was inaccurate, she said. I have corrected the estimate. Oh, good, he replied. To what? She considered. Unknown. They stopped in a wide maintenance bay, unfinished and raw, cables hanging like exposed nerves from the ceiling. No drones, no observers. The station's hum felt closer here, louder, as if the walls were listening. This area lacks adaptive safeguards, Asha said. No assistance, no interference. Cole looked around. So if I fall? You will fall, she said, comforting. They faced each other on uneven ground, loose panels shifting underfoot. The gravity here was inconsistent, pulsing softly as the station compensated for external radiation surges. Cole flexed his hands, already tired in ways sleep hadn't fixed. They didn't move. Not at first. Asha broke the stillness by sitting down. Cole blinked. Oh, okay, that's new. She lowered herself cross-legged onto the deck, entirely unconcerned with vulnerability. Tell me how you decide when to move, she said. He stared at her. You want my process? Yes. That's a terrible idea. Explain it anyway. He hesitated, then shrugged and sat opposite her, wincing as a bruise protested. I don't decide, he said slowly. I wait until not moving feels worse than moving. Then I pick the option that breaks the least. She listened intently, head tilted slightly. That is not a combat doctrine. No, he agreed. It's a repair philosophy. She absorbed that in silence. The station shuddered faintly around them, a distant micro-jump correcting orbital drift. When she stood, she moved differently. Less certainty, more attention. They began. Without the chamber's support, everything felt sharper. Every step had consequence. Cole slipped twice in the first minute and recovered only because he laughed and leaned into it. Asha attacked in bursts, then stopped herself mid-strike, adjusting before instinct took over. You hesitate now, Cole observed, ducking. I am choosing, she replied, blocking his clumsy counter. Careful, he said. That's my thing. She swept his legs anyway. He hit the deck, groaned. Still counts. She offered a hand again. This time she didn't withdraw it. He took it, hauled himself up, and for a moment their grips lingered longer than necessary. She released him first, ears flicking, as if annoyed at herself. They continued, slower than ever before. Asha corrected him verbally instead of striking when he misaligned. Cole interrupted her explanations with jokes and terrible analogies involving broken engines and doors that refused to close. At one point, gravity spiked unexpectedly, slamming them both sideways. Cole crashed into a wall, laughed breathlessly. I didn't do that. I know, Asha said, steadying herself. But you adapted before I did. That realization landed heavily. They stopped again, breathing hard, leaning against opposite sides of the bay. Asha looked at her hands as if seeing them for the first time. My experience made me efficient, she said quietly, but it also made me predictable. Cole shrugged. Predictable isn't bad. It just means someone can read you if they're stubborn enough. She looked at him then, really looked, not as an opponent, not as a puzzle, but as a variable she hadn't accounted for. You have no fear of looking foolish. Oh, he said, I absolutely do. I just do it anyway. The station lights flickered, then stabilized. Somewhere above them, the training chamber waited, unused. Asha straightened, something resolute settling into her posture again, but change tempered. Tomorrow, she said. Cole nodded, exhausted, bruised, smiling despite himself. Tomorrow, he agreed. Neither of them noticed that the station had already begun adjusting its systems for something new. The final session began exactly where the first one had. The training chamber restored itself to neutrality, as if embarrassed by all the experimenting it had done. Flat floor, balanced gravity, clean light, no tricks, no warnings, just space and expectation. Cole stood at one end of the platform, rolling his shoulders, feeling older in a way that had nothing to do with age. Asha stood opposite him, armored again, but not the same armor she had worn before. It was lighter, reconfigured, less ceremonial. Her long ears were uncovered, unguarded, and her posture, still perfect, no longer carried the promise of inevitability. So, Cole said, glancing around, back to basics. I feel like this is where something dramatic is supposed to happen. Yes, Asha replied, but not quickly. Good, he said. I'm very bad at quickly. The chamber sealed. The drones activated but kept their distance, silent observers rather than referees. Somewhere beyond the hull, the nebula pulsed, its radiation patterns gently interfering with the station's sensors. The chamber compensated, then stopped trying. It let them have the space. They didn't move, not for several seconds. Cole broke the silence first. Just so you know, he said, if this ends with me on the floor again, I'm calling it tradition. Asha inclined her head slightly. If it ends with me there, I will call it progress. They moved together, not fast, not slow, precisely when they needed to. Asha struck with control rather than force, each motion chosen instead of inherited. Cole responded without panic, without jokes for once, his instincts tempered by everything she had taught him. When he retreated, it was intentional. When he advanced, it was clean. They traded momentum like a conversation. The chamber chimed softly as gravity shifted in response to external radiation. A gentle fluctuation neither of them commented on. Cole adjusted his footing automatically. Asha noticed and adjusted differently, breaking a pattern before it could settle. You changed that, Cole said mid-exchange. So did you, she replied. He smiled, ducked, redirected her strike just enough to create space. She didn't press it. Instead, she waited, watching him the way he had watched her for days. The realization hit him mid-breath. Oh, he said, you're doing the thing. Yes, she said. I am waiting. They clashed again, sharper this time, both committing, both pulling back at the last possible moment. Cole took a hit to the shoulder, grunted, laughed despite himself. Still counts. Asha swept his legs. He fell, rolled, came up faster than he ever had before, movement smoother, less accidental. He surprised them both by countering cleanly, forcing her to retreat a step. She froze, not because she was stunned, because she was pleased. They circled, breathing hard now, sweat cooling in the chamber's steady air. The drones recalculated, quietly confused. Time stretched, not as an enemy, but as a witness. Cole made a mistake, a small one. He anticipated instead of reacted. Asha exploited it instantly, locking his arm, forcing him down without impact. She held him there, not pressing further. He laughed, breathless. Okay, he said. That one definitely counts. She released him and stepped back, offering him space instead of a hand. He rose on his own, wincing, but steady. They stood facing each other, neither advancing. The chamber chimed again. End of session. Neither of them moved to leave. Asha broke the silence first. My people believe mastery is proven when no opponent remains, she said. I believe that too. Cole wiped sweat from his brow. Yeah, he said. That sounds lonely. She considered that, ears angling slightly outward. It is. She stepped closer, not as a challenger now, but as an equal. You forced me to see the limits of my experience, she said, not because it was lacking, but because it was complete, closed. Cole shrugged. Experience gets comfortable. I fixed things that got comfortable enough to stop working. And you, she continued, have learned restraint, structure. You no longer rely only on instinct. He nodded slowly. Turns out instincts work better when they're not alone. The station lights softened, artificial dust settling over the chamber. Outside, the nebula flared brightly, its radiation cresting against the shields like a distant tide. The station adjusted smoothly this time, already prepared. Asha inclined her head, the gesture no longer formal, no longer ancient, just honest. There will be no more rematches, she said. Cole blinked. Oh, that's unexpected. She met his gaze steadily. There will be partnership instead. He smiled, tired and genuine. Yeah, he said. That sounds better. The chamber doors slid open. The drones powered down. The station resumed its quiet orbit, systems humming with new parameters, new expectations. They walked out together, not as warrior and test subject, not as teacher and student, but as something balanced. Equal forces moving forward. Behind them, the chamber lights dimmed, waiting patiently for the next story it would never quite understand, but would always remember.